Trollord Games has been around for a long time, and we've 25 years in fact, and we've seen a lot of tech. When I first got my first computer back in 90 whatever, a friend of mine didn't have me do anything with Microsoft. Everything was DOS based, and we downloaded this program called WordPerfect. So I used everything in WordPerfect. When we started TLG in 99, that was the program that I was still using. And when we signed with Gary Gygax in 01, he began sending us products, his manuscripts in Word. I didn't use Word. I didn't have any software for Word. I used everything in WordPerfect. So Todd Gray and I painfully translated everything, or whatever we did, whatever you got to do to get from one program to another back in 2001, 2002, to get all of Gary's material in WordPerfect. Once in WordPerfect, we edited it, cleaned it, published it, sent it on about its business. And the ironic thing is now, years later, that we're revisiting the stuff that Gary sent us. And I don't have his original Word files anymore. I only have the WordPerfect files that we translated everything into. And now that we use Microsoft Word, keeping in mind, in those days I was kind of, I didn't want to use anything Microsoft. Still really don't want to use anything from a big corporation, but we now have to translate everything back to Word. So there you go. There's your irony, and your tech development. Trollord Games. Trollord Games has been around for a long time, and we've 25 years in fact, and we've seen a lot of tech.
Trollord Games. Join the fray.
You can hear me just fine. It should be fine. No idea why it's muted. Let me go look and see if it did something stupid. Hold on a minute. Let me check. Who knows, man? No, it's showing you coming across. Fine. You haven't killed anything. You're fine. You're fine. They hear me, so they don't hear the headset. No, you're good. You're good. Let me get in here under this stupid settings and see if it redid the headset. It's default. No. All right. Yes, I get it. Y'all can't hear him. In fact, I'm going to talk for him for the rest of the stream. He's just going to hang out. Hold on a minute. I got to track down. I literally don't know why it's not working. I literally don't know. Say something, Steve, will you? Speak something, Steve. Not yet. Just give me a second. You guys are not funny at all. None of you are. I've had a hell of a day. I don't need this. All right, let me think about this a minute. Why is it not going through? It's lighting up there, so he's not hearing. No. You're fine. You are fine. It's from here to there. I have to figure this out. I don't know why it's doing that for it. It picks its days and wants to do shit like that. I don't understand why it's doing this. Shock history default. It's on default. It's on. That's muted. Poor dude is trying to do his thing, and now we're breaking his chops. It's normal, sure. It's okay. They're good about that. I just got to figure out why the hell it stopped. I don't know what's going on here. It's coming into here okay. Oh, wait, let me check. No, I got the video, right? So the sound. Say something, Steve. It's coming across into here. I'm really at a loss. Let me go down here and look and see. Oh, holy shit. Say something now.
What the hell is that? Did that go through?
I guarantee it did. Let's wait for confirmation. There he is. Yeah, that works.
So I gotta ask, so for those of you who don't know, this is the Infernal Dictionary. This was a book
Where
wrien
did you
in
find that?
in the 1600s, and it describes all. No, I'm sorry, the 1800s, and it describes all the devils and hell and all the demons and all of that stuff. So I was just opening up. I certainly have not read all of this yet. I'm using it on my Codex Infernum, but it's called the Kraka, I guess. I don't know. The Kraka, I don't know. A female wizard. No, that can't be right. Crabs. Walruses have got several hollow whiskers on their chops. And underneath, there is no seaman who will not make a ring with these whiskers because he believes that it protects against the cramp. I don't know what's up with this picture of these dancing crabs. Wait, here it is. Crabs. These small, hideous inhabitants of the sea are somehow tied to the demons of the waters. And according to what is said by Scottish shore dwellers, as opposed to Scottish people who live at sea, they dance at the witches' Sabbath when it is performed on the beach. Interesting. Not sure I'm going to integrate that into the Codex Infernum, but but who knows? Who can say? I had a dancing crab once, but an ointment cleared it up. There you go. Well, welcome to Ask Me Anything, everybody. Sound delays notwithstanding, it is May 7th, 2024. And Lando, thank you for the Dr. Pepper. It has been an interesting day and not particularly rushed or madhouse troll day today. It's just been an interesting day. I'm just feeling a little bit like I need some caffeine. So there you go. Just got my first edition reprint. For those that scrolled away, for those that don't know, it comes with a TLG box and printed stamp on the first page with the SIGs. Yeah, I love that thing. Absolutely love that stamp. And you should have gotten a patch in there as well. You turn the corner and encounter dancing crabs rolling for initiative. Venom says, what is one area in Arid that you would like to see more detailed out or have more adventures in? So obviously, I like the playing field Ursel over there. And I really, really like the coastal region that is south here. I really, really like that. And I've only just explored it a smidgen. It's just west of the Barentine coast, I believe is what that's called. But I like the idea of that kind of blasted plain, hot, arid country, not desert, but, sort of like New Mexico, Arizona, that type of thing, up and as it crawls up into the mountains. Water. The patch is a thing of beauty. Thank you, Ghidorah. Very, very happy about the patch. Very, very happy about it. First printing is really along. Yes, it has from its block of text in the olden days. But I have to say, I'm still a fan of a block of text. Of course, I like books like the Infernal Dictionary. And I'll tell you something else that I'm reading. I'm dividing my time because there's so much stuff that I want to read. In the early evenings, I sit and read history and whatnot. I'm reading a Savage War right now, Civil War history. And I've been reading some Lovecraft late at night, but I have plunged into the 4 treatises of, what is his name? Paracelsus, I guess is his name, written in the 1600s. He was a surgeon who wandered all over Germany and the Balkans and into Turkey, Italy, and then back, and he wrote a number of treatises on how to, cure people. And of course, these are the days that what do they call the 4 humors, whatever it was, that the doctors used. But in one of these treatises, he talks about nymphs, sprites, salamanders, and gnomes. And that's what I'm reading at the moment. And it's very, very cool. It's a very, very different thing that he looks at. All 4 of these creatures are very human in shape, though they're clothed in the element that they come from. The salamander is fire, and the nymph is water. Is that right? Yeah. And then the gnome is earth, and the sprite is air. I might have those two mixed up, the sprite and nymph, but I don't think I did. And it's cool how he describes like the gnome can breathe earth as the gnome passes through a wall of stone or dirt or whatever. He can breathe that just like we would breathe air. It's very cool, very different. I just like it. I think it's very, very cool. What is this strange financial institution based in the Bank of Ghana? We're putting TLG's money in the Bank of Ghana. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, you know. I'll have to go all the way over to Facebook and ban them. Hold on a minute. Can't do that about Twitch. Don't want to ban. We don't want to ban the restream bot. That would defeat the whole purpose.
No, it's a sprite. He uses the word Undine and Vulcan, King Kothar. He switches those two interchangeably, but for him, it's the sprite, the nymph, the salamander, and the gnome. And the gnome is spelt differently. It's not Gnome, but he doesn't use Undine. He uses it once, and it's not Undine. He uses a different word for it. It's very interesting. Sparky just lost power. That's no good. Boo! I already transferred my money. Waiting on a response. There you go. The Bank of Ghana is going to be very happy. Let's see. Lots of trolls in Ghana. What could go wrong? There you go. All right. Any questions? Pile up before I meander on into this weird treatise on the strange creatures of the 1600s. How's it going, you ennui? Chuck, anything floating around out there, or have you been trying to tech support back there?
Yeah. So, Johnny D asked, "Will you be continuing with more of the smaller Gazeteer books?" I'll do it.
Yes, absolutely. What is the one I'm working on now? The one north of KMR. I haven't named it yet. So the Tarkiln region. The one between that and no, that's not right. That's not right. It's the one to the right. Maine. It's the Kingdom of Maine. That region is the one I've just started working on that one. Focus right now is getting Codex Infernum wrapped up. I'm about halfway through the Devils, I think. And then I'm going to hammer down the planes. This book, these treatises gave me some great ideas on the elemental planes, because he talks about these creatures in the planes that they exist in, which of course is the elemental planes in our parlance. It's just cool stuff. I mean, it's just really cool stuff. So wrap up Infernum in I hope by next Friday it'll be done. And then dive back into the planes at long last and help Jason with the Exaltum Zone. But the expanses are coming without a doubt. I have a question. Why is the Tome of the Unclean an artifact when it doesn't have any magical properties? Because it is filled with information, my friend. And information is as important as a bonus to your swing. And when you get an artifact, chances are you're already 19th level, so the artifacts are pointless anyways. So the idea is to give them something that they can use. But I don't even think I wrote up in the write-up what it was supposed to be, because what it was supposed to be is access to the information in the Tome of the Unclean for the players. So the players could say, if you encounter Garyon, the players can say, I know that Garyon does this, this, and this, because I'm looking at my Tome of the Unclean. That was the idea behind it, to fuel the fires of their own knowledge so that they can take whatever actions they wanted against these characters, against these monsters, as opposed to going into them blind. Which is interesting, because I finished Garyon yesterday, and I thought Garyon was one of those in the medieval hierarchy. He's not. He's actually a mythological creature from Greece. So I'm curious how the folks at TSR, when they integrated him into the Devil's ranks, how that actually came to be. Very interesting. The Devils are in the details. Yes, they are. Those books are great, just enough info to feed the CK's imagination. I'm glad you think so, Johnny D. That is the purpose of them. Just a little bit of tease, a little bit of maybe some kind of adventure hook, and then you go and dive in. But an artifact explicitly has magic powers. Just see, Jeremy, you're looking to define every aspect of the game, and you just need to let it go, man. Let it go. Everything doesn't have to be magical powers. It's just, it's a book that helps out. It's good. It's an artifact. It's very, very rare. It's an artifact. It's just sort of vaguely describes the hierarchies of hell and explicitly has no names of creatures included. Yeah, I would never actually do. I know you intend to do that, but I wouldn't. I didn't define it. CNCD. Well, then that needs to be undefined. And the book Tome of the Unclean would be a magical book in that it has all of this magical information in it. But I wouldn't. I know that you intend to, but I wouldn't actually put names in, because once out of the bag, you're kind of done. Now, what I'm going to do in the Tomb of the Unclean, because once it becomes shared on the internet, everybody's going to know that the Demogorgon's real magical name is Jared, and as soon as they start saying Jared every time they get from the Demogorgon, CK screwed. But what I am going to do is give naming conventions in the Tomb of the in the Codex Infernum, so people can design their own names for whatever these demons are. Have a little faith, baby. It's a beautiful game. It's going to be fun. There you go. There you go. It has a +1 for holding down loose scrolls on a table, Jeremy. There you go. Any more questions floating around?
Yeah, I got all kinds of them here. Let's see. You may have answered this. I don't know. Did you? Marsuk says. Dundig says, "What is the OGLizing entail? Like, are there protected rules or just names and text, etc.?"
So the siege engine and all that stuff is all Troller games. 90, I think. I can't remember what Jeremy said. It was like 98% of the MNT was stuff that we wrote. So I can't remember what it is. The 95% of the player's handbook was stuff we wrote. So we aren't having to change much. None of the rules are we changing. None of the ability, skills, class, races, any of that stuff are we changing. The biggest changes in alignment is changed to disposition, and it's given more options to play to set. You can be law/evil or evil/law, and so on down the line. And then a lot of spells are getting changed, names are getting changed. But we did, I think, a very good job of keeping the spells in their alphabetical order. Like, for instance, I'm looking at the list now. Glyph of warding is now just glyphs. So you still go to G, there's glyphs, same names, it does the same thing. Rewritten a little bit differently. So really the changes, pulling the OGL out of the player's handbook, is there's not a lot of changes to it. There'll be some name changes, mostly in the spells. I think only in the spells, to be honest with you. I don't think anything changed ability-wise in the player or race section. CKG is not going to have hardly any changes to it. And the MNT, Jeremy's here, he could tell us it's like 90% original stuff. So it's by and large just names. Question: what were some of the biggest lessons you learned between the first and second printings of the PHP? Was that the next question, or was there one before that, Chuck?
Well, technically it was the next one. He's repeated it twice because he's not happy to wait. He's not patient.
I was droning on, Sparky. So what were the biggest lessons you learned between the first and second printings of the PHP? So there actually weren't, we didn't have time, as I recall. It's been a while, but we got the player's handbook in first printing. It was much more yellow than Peter and I had intended. It was supposed to be kind of a parchment color, old parchment color. It just came out more yellow, so we stuck with that in the second printing. But the first printing started selling through very fast, and we didn't have a lot of time to go in and fix stuff because the Monsters and Treasure book was a huge issue. Robert Doyle wrote a good chunk of it. He had sent that in, and then when it landed, it wasn't, to my mind, it wasn't anywhere near completed. He did a great job on the stuff that he did, but he mostly just did abilities and stat blocks. So I had to go in, and in those days, it was really just me at that point and Peter Bradley. I had to go in and write the Monsters and Treasures, each of those monsters and stuff like that. I had to go in and write, while doing all the other crap that I was doing for Gary and everything else. So that between 1 and 2, we didn't change very much. Now, we heard the complaints on 1. I didn't agree with them. The biggest complaint on printing number 1 is the text was too much block text, not enough art, not enough fonts. It just read like a history book. Well, that certainly didn't bother me. And we rolled into the printing 2 with this. I believe it's the exact same format with very tiny changes. And I honestly can't remember printing 3. By printing 4, we were beginning to loosen up, and I told Peter to go in and start kind of breaking up text and putting spaces in and all of that stuff. Get a little bit more graphically pleasing to people. And that's all on me. That, I'm sure Peter wanted to change it. I'm sure everyone wanted to change it. But I when I started this publishing company, I was working on my PhD in history, and all I do is read history books. I prefer text like this. And if there's pictures in my text, it irritates the crap out of me. Just because I'm reading a book, I'm not coloring something. So art has never really been part of my thing. And much, 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 much later, what is it, the 7th printing, or is it the 8th, where we really begin to kind of get into, okay, Peter, just lay the book out, do all of your stuff, and go. And he did a great job. So that formatting stuff you can drop right on my desk. What's the next question, Chuck? You're muted.
No, that's okay. No wonder you couldn't hear me. what I was gonna say was it makes complete sense why that now it all makes sense to me because you didn't take any electives in college that introduced
No,
pictures or art. Like I took art
no.
history, fantastic
Oh, yeah.
class, you know. So you
None of
just
it.
stared at musty tomes for fucking days on end. I got it now.
Yes,
All
and
right.
even my master's degree, which kind of wandered into art, was architecture. So architecture of Vienna at the turn of the century. So it didn't. There wasn't a lot. There was a lot of text broken with pictures.
There's a lot
I,
starting
yeah.
to make sense now. That's starting to make sense a lot more. Okay, so Venom 12 says,
Yes.
Steve, if you could give one piece of advice to a nobody wanting to get into the TTRPG industry, what would it be?
Well, one, don't call yourself a nobody. That would be the first piece of advice. Absolutely don't approach it that way. If you're wanting to get into it, I tell people the same thing all the time. Treat it like a business. Take it serious. Don't treat it like a hobby. Don't treat it like this is something that, I might not be able to make it. You can't do this. You don't listen to all those people. And there's going to be dozens of them that tell you can't make any money. You can't do this. You can't do that. Don't listen to that crap. If you want to get into this industry, whatever direction, from writing to publishing to whatever, take it seriously and dive in. Do your homework, do your work, do things like I failed to do in the beginning and look and take layout seriously because I didn't. Right, I didn't. As Chuck was just pointing out, I had no art history at all, and it played out in the way we presented the books. So. My piece of advice would be to take it very seriously, and not so much that you live and breathe it and all of that stuff, but don't treat it like a hobby and dive in. And today's market is I guess market's the right word. It's tailor built for someone to dive in because you can get into drive-through RPG. I think relatively easily. Create yourself a company, go over there, make an account, and start selling stuff. And go. I mean, and see where you can land on it.
No, that's good. That's good advice. That's very true. One of the things I learned from you was we talked about not too long ago, just about usually when you go into the business full time, anything like this, where it's almost like a hobby turned into a job, you have to be careful with working from home too, as well. You can't let your surroundings affect your productivity. Right.
Working from home is a whole different ballgame, and I had a hard learning curve on that too.
It's not easy.
Very, very hard learning curve. It's one of the reasons you will see, even at work, I get my shoes. This is my home.
I wear clothes now, which is a big change. So
I put clothes on to go to work. I put my boots on to go to work, and I can tell you right now, my feet hurt really bad. I'm ready to take these boots off.
Well, it wasn't until I was down there visiting and saw those pink bunny slippers that I realized there were times when you didn't actually wear the boots. I was shocked. I actually thought it was part of your body. I thought it was morphed into these boots.
It will not, Jeremy. That the layout of those spells is awesome. Go ahead. What's the next question?
Let's see. King Kothar. Oh, what is this? I have a question. Why is it? Never mind. I think you already answered that about an artifact which doesn't have any magical. Oh, Jeremy. All right. He trolled me. George Fields. Will the new core books be together in one Kickstarter?
Yes. Yeah. We're gonna bundle it all together, and I believe you're gonna have a player's handbook level and then a 3-book level. We're gonna try to keep it as simple as possible. Coding doesn't, but all the team Zoom meetings do. Steve Areno is correct. Steve Areno. Hey, I like that. I like that.
Let's see. You're in a bullying mood today. So what's different? All right, moving on. Let's see. Rick Montel asks, pulling rules were added in the second printing?
Were they? I knew they weren't in the beginning. I didn't know which printing they landed.
Oh, he was commenting on you. All right.
There was a few minor things. I do remember that. It wasn't a lot though.
I've got everything caught up on my end. Oh, there you go. Johnny D's got a question for you. Will the new CZ books be non-OGL?
Yeah. We're going to make them compatible with Castles and States as Gary desired. So they will come out non-OGL. And we're waiting for the last kind of thing to fall into place for that. So super excited about that. Oh, that makes me forget I got it. Oh, dude, man.
The Barbarian changed. Jeremy, I think the Barbarian changed in third or fourth printing. Fourth printing. Fourth printing had all the changes. All the changes.
Yeah, I think from third to fourth, we added 44 or 40 Gem Ward spells and then changed the Barbarian and the Monk, the names in the Monk. And the barbarian changed to chunk, but the names and only the names in the book.
As a stretch goal, I have tried to get Steve, convince Steve. One of my suggestions for this is to have all the old stuff that was taken out put into some sort of little PDF, maybe even print for the backers. So they want to have the older stuff from the printings. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh yeah, we could do that for sure.
You know what I mean? Like the old barbarian. There's several little changes. That would be kind of cool to have. Anyway.
I think my problem, if I remember back in those woebegone days, my problem with the barbarian is it wasn't barbaric enough. It wasn't
Berserker.
evil. There wasn't enough reactionary abilities, and so when I went and rewrote them, they're written to be reactionary. They're actually written for role playing because the way it's written, if I recall, if you hesitate to take the action, if you say, I'm not sure I should take this action, you can't take it. You're done. You're out. You got to take it. You got to play the barbarian all the way in.
Yeah, and the older version was more of a berserker, which a lot of people like berserker. They like that. Yeah. They like that rage, right? And that's cool. I get that. It'd be nice to have it out there, at least for people to use. They want. George Fields asks, "Are you sticking with the chromatics / metallic dragons of old?"
Yeah. Well, yes, we are definitely. And I don't think Jeremy and I've actually talked about that. We've not discussed where that lands, the actual blue dragon and green dragon. If you look at the Monsters and Treasures of Erd, we changed the green dragon is the greenwood dragon. The gold leaf is the gold dragon, stuff like that.
Yeah, but they don't have the same stats and stuff, though. We totally they're new dragons completely. So, and the current ones are still in the M&T, right? So,
yes. Susurrus Apprentice says, the Susurrus Apprentice, you need to get rid of your impulse control to play a barbarian. Absolutely. So we'll have the same dragons in there. We will have some form of the metallic in there for a certainty that is very, very recognizable. Jason Walton has begun. He's finished the blue, the white, and the black and green, I think. I think I've got 4 of them now. And he started the red today.
I haven't seen the black one.
Thinking that I'm like, look. Let me see if I can find it and we can drop it here in the stream.
Yeah, be fine.
As a tease. And real quick, if you haven't, we've got a sign up page. Chucky, could you put that link up? We have a sign up page for the Kickstarter. Please go sign up so that you can get early notifications for this thing. Let's see. Oh, I merged the 2 files. That's never good. Yeah, no. I do have a blank. Good deal. All right, I'm just going to give you the TIFF and let you change it to a JPEG, Chuck.
Sure, not a problem.
All right, let me do that.
All right, I've got some more questions for you in queue here when you're ready.
All right, fire away.
Let's see. Alan Rowe from across the pond, our buddy, says, I hope we're doing well over. I haven't asked Steve about some figures, but anyway, it's neither here. What's the ETA for the OGL Free Books?
I am relatively certain that the Kickstarter will launch in June. We hope to have all of the books. The M&T is going to be the closest to not done. We want to have all of the books done before we launch. And the player's handbook is essentially finished. The CKG is essentially finished. M&T is going to be a nebulous zone. So not before we launch, but before we close. So I'm hoping to have those to the printers by no later than August. So by September, October, they're in people's hands. So that's the hope. We kind of have to build for that. There's not much left, not much of the ninth printing left anyways, and we can't not have the player's handbook floating around.
No, that's our main gravy, so to speak.
Yeah, it's the flagship of it all.
Wargate Gaming asks, when can we get possibly a preview of what the OGL changes are coming for the non-OGL books, like something they can look at online,
Yeah, so I put up a lot of that in Discord, which coming. We can definitely get that up and put it up. We'll put it somewhere where everyone can see it, and it'll definitely be a part of the Kickstarter.
And I have an idea for that too. I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, we will definitely have that out so people will know. And if they don't feel comfortable, they want to keep playing their ninth printing, carry on. You're good to go. And we are going to give away. I guess I keep forgetting this part of it. If you sign up for that list 2 days before the Kickstarter launches, we are going to release the Player's Handbook PDF 10th printing to everybody. So you're going to see the changes. So if you want a free copy of that Player's Handbook, 10th printing, sign up for that list. And just before we launch the Kickstarter, you will have that player. So you will know exactly what you're backing.
Right. Let's see. Johnny D says, Steve, what does an average work day look like for you?
So I wandered down here about 7 in the morning, and I do the company books from 7 to about 7:30 or so. Then I go have 3 pieces of dry toast and a glass of water for breakfast. And then I come back to work by 8. Begin harassing the crew. I work pretty solidly until 11 o'clock. Usually the morning is jam packed with business related things, paying taxes, filing a 941, getting with Todd to order supplies, or getting information to Grace or information to Chuck, to Jeremy, to David, whoever, and getting all that squared. And then I take my lunch religiously at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. I do this for 2 reasons. One is if I want to do takeout somewhere, I don't have to wait in line. And the second reason, and the more important reason, is I don't allow myself to have a Dr. Pepper until after lunch. So I eat lunch at 11. So by 11:30, I'm usually sitting in this desk with my feet propped up, drinking my first Dr. Pepper of the day. So it's very, very important. And as Chuck knows, if things start interrupting my lunch at about 11, I start getting irritated because I know that my Dr. Pepper is going to get interrupted. After that, I usually sit here and write, edit, clean books, whatever it is I do, work. And I try to quit at 5 o'clock every day. Sometimes I'll spill over to about 5:30, and I usually will come back down here at about 10 to 10:30 and work for about an hour or so and kind of just wrap things up, and then off to whatever. So they're pretty long days, but it's pretty cool. And this is why Grace and Chuck and them get strange texts from me in the middle of the night, because Chuck, we need to do this. Of course, I know Chuck's asleep, but but he'll wake up to my smiling, we need to do this.
Oh yeah,
so that's a day. Yeah. Chuck's kind of got a shocked look on his face. the lovely text. At least, Chuck, I don't tell you good morning, but at least tell Grace good morning. I'll say good morning and then ask her.
Me and you're kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, or whatever. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't really stop. I mean, we go to sleep and then we wake up and we're just kind of in the moment again. Let's see. Oh, welcome over, Redshift from YouTube. Redshift says, "Hello, all. Any changes to the modern weapons or mechanics in the Castle Keeper's Guide?"
Wow, I don't think so. Now, having said that, Amazing Adventures is man, where are we on? I gotta get that. CKG is ready to go to Peter for layout. No, it went to Peter for layout. Oh, anyways. We've got to make certain. One of the things that we're doing in this battery of printings, and this is what's driving Jeremy insane, is we're trying to make sure everything is lined up from book to book to book to book. So I want to make certain that whatever's in Amazing Adventures appears in the CKG. And this is one of the things that right. So, and it'll be the Amazing Adventures ones. I think Jason's are far more involved. He may have written the CKG's gun rules, so they may already be lined up. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's see here. All right, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a break here for a second. We're gonna bring up that piece of artwork.
Right. Oh, the dragon.
The dragon. There she be.
So I got to tell you what I love about this piece. Now, the dragon is badass. I love it. But if you look down in the lower right-hand corner, you will see the battered shield of that knight who's laying dead in the swamp. His helm is beneath the dragon's feet, and his battle axe is there too.
Yeah.
It is just cool.
I need to recreate that in my game. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. I love how Jason adds that extra, oomph to it. That just kind of brings it home for our characters.
Little things. It would just make it more real,
Yeah.
Like having that guy against the rock back there in the back behind him, just laying there. He didn't have to put that guy against the rock, but it brings out the whole idea of there's been some ass kicking going on here. You know what I mean?
Oh, I just noticed. I don't know if you've seen this picture, but the dragon's right hand claw is dripping with blood, so that's cool as well.
Yeah. Probably from the guy laying at his foot right there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see him either. And that's one of the reasons I love Jason Walton's art. You look at it and you go, "This is badass," and then you go back to it a couple weeks later and you go, "Oh crap, I didn't see that before." That I absolutely love it when artists are able to do that. And the dragon isn't even hurt. Correct, Johnny D.
Varsuk wanted to comment real quick before I read these other questions. He said, okay, so only possible Amazing Adventures, but in July, I'm getting that, so I will alert my pet sitters that they may need to watch for delivery if I can get UPS to hold the stuff.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I swear they've got the CKG Amazing Adventure CKG laid out. I'm like, I think things have been such a blur around here. I've been on the road a lot in the last 5 weeks, so it's been empty space upstairs. Eating good in the neighborhood, absolutely. I know Dungeon Land is the online store base in the UK that usually has CNC stuff. I think they're north of England, though. Not sure about Cambridge. So that should all have changed in the last few weeks. I know that it did. GMS Distribution has picked that up. You'll be able to order CNC material from GMS. They're located there in the United Kingdom. So it'll make things so much easier. Alan is here in the chat, I think, or he was a few minutes ago. There's the link. It'll just make things easier because shipping.
I need to fix that. It says tomorrow, but it's actually live now.
So. Okay. Yeah, it is live now. Yeah, the shipping is just silly. It's just silly. it's unwarranted, I think, and silly. So,
Varsuk says, Steven, are there any Kickstarter or Indiegogo crowdfunding stuff floating around for delivery in July? Asking because I'm making arrangements to have some things for you because I'll be in Europe. Oh, okay. That was part of that.
That was what probably Amazing Adventures and the Hermit are going to be the most likely. The Codex Infernum should be done, and it'll be done by next week, and be going to editing now. And we got a full-time editor on board, so it'll go a little bit faster. But the Exaltum book won't be ready for another couple of months, so that one probably won't ship till late summer. Yeah, I think Hermit and the Amazing Adventures are probably going to be the ones to look for. Okay. Arms and Armor, that's a great. I'm glad Wolf Alone you brought that up. So the fantastic thing about Arms and Armor, all the interior art's done. Finn is now editing it. He finished War Mounts yesterday. That goes into layout by the end of the week. We should have a rough book of that one ready. And then Arms and Armor will be. I mean, as soon as Finn finishes a piece, he's going to send it on to Peter, and Peter can begin laying that out. And that it's going to take a week or two for Finn to get that edited. It's a big book, but he is dug in at this point. So very, very good. Glad you mentioned that. I keep forgetting that.
All right. Willie the Rat says, might the new core books be available for pickup at TrollCon? Please, please, please.
Oh yeah, they should definitely be ready.
They will be. They better be. Yeah.
We got other problems.
Yeah. But I mean, it should be. Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah, Varsuk, and we can attempt, if you send us an email, we can attempt to hold stuff. We are sometimes successful on that. We do batch shipping for the Kickstarters in particular. So sometimes people's notices, we miss them, but sometimes we can catch it. So definitely let us know.
Redshift says, I'm sorry if this has been answered, but will there be an SRD?
You know, we get that question a lot, and I think an SRD would be cool. But the license for CNC is pretty open, it's pretty loose, and we are certainly not going to come at anybody who uses.
I think he's talking about as far as most people that aren't publishers look at it for information purposes. Just a basic rule thing they can look at, you know. When we've talked about putting this up on a wiki before, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, that's a possibility. And it's funny that I'm glad you mentioned that, Chuck, because that's the better way to answer that. Now, we had a long discussion last week about doing a TOG and a CNC wiki, and an aired wiki. And I think that would be very cool. And I think that would be the place for that to go. The SRD thing, the system reference document for other publishers, is something that I don't know. We may at some point, but it's a pretty open license. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, people using Magic Missile or whatever. Come on. Griffin, come on. It's just stop it.
Let's see. So Oaken Dragon Press says, have you ever considered selling poster prints of the tribute covers and the dragons? These new dragons.
Yeah, you can actually get some of them. I think the three core books are at Noble Dwarf right now. You can get them, and they come in these fantastic, beautiful canvas pieces, and I'd highly recommend you head over and get those. But these dragons, absolutely.
That's not
there's going to be some art that in the player's handbook and the monster book specifically that I'm super jazzed on, and we will get with Noble Dwarf and offer them. The thing about the canvas, so the posters are cool. We all know it. We've all got them. The posters are cool, but they get folded or wrinkled or whatever. But this canvas that that Noble Dwarf puts him on, it can take the test of time. And at the end of the day, I'm a big advocate of things being made to last. I'm not a huge fan of the whole idea of companies making shit with a shelf life. That drives me nuts. You got to buy this. That's why I'm sitting on a bank chair that was made in the 1950s, and the desk that I'm sitting in front of was made in the 1950s because they're just not going to go anywhere. So we try at Troller Games to kind of follow the philosophy of making something that lasts. So that is the hope of that. What's the next?
You're good for now, unless there's one right there in chat. I hopped over to get the link for that, but OBS logged me out in the middle of the stream. I don't know why.
So the canvas stuff falls right into that kind of zone. Hey, I was made in the 1950s. There you go, Willie. I was made in the 60s, but good things come out of the 50s. It's just so funny. I don't know what it is about my life. This house was made in like 54. There's so much stuff that I have that's made in the 50s. It's very weird. These Inker jotters, I think, have been around in the exact same form since the 1950s. That's just cool. The floor will rot out from under your furniture before it self-breaks. Probably so. Well, I got one of those. Can you hear that? I got one of these old, I don't know if you can see that, one of these old metal office desks. It's just great. We actually, Todd and I went down and we bought 8 of them, and I think we paid $50 a pop for them. So it's awesome. Having something from the 50s, at least it wasn't built my dirty copies. That is true. It was built here in the United States. Almost anything from a year beginning with 19, yes. I don't know. The 90s get a little bit dubious with some of the junk. I think what sent me off the deep end on this stuff, my first wife, she was washing a glass, and she put her hand in it and did this, and we bought it at Walmart, and it just cracked, and it sliced her palm to the bone. It's like 9 or 10, 11 stitches or some crap like this, blood all over the place. And at that point, I had this kind of mental shift into just rage at things that break all the time. So we try to carry that. We try to carry that over in what we do. My new house turns 100 next year. Basement stair light is the 2-button job seen in Yellowstone 1928 as the fancy new electricity thing. That's awesome. You just don't. What is it? You don't want. Is it wire and tube? Is that what it's called? You don't want wire and tube electrical up in the attic. That's what you don't want. But you talk about a house. This one's 70 years old or whatever. It doesn't settle anymore. And if you go into the mailroom, the floor beams are 16-inch beam. I mean, it's just huge, and there's no knots in them. It's just absolutely nuts. Question: what is the game plan for the compilation stuff with Lord Gazumba? I haven't talked to Jay since Gary Con. I know he's an exceedingly busy person with his new job, but I am assuming that they are continuing to write on the Free City of Altamira, and as soon as he says it's done, there's Jay right there. As soon as he says it's done in its draft form, we will. There you go. We will dive right into that, and I'm super excited about that. The Free City Altamira. Not only is the city badass, but it beautifully ties Greyhawk and Erd together. Like myself, Jay's got deep roots in Greyhawk, and then it's got the maps that are just going to be absolutely through the roof. We'll be done by the deadline of Labor Day. There you go. You heard it here, folks. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. And as soon as he's done, we're diving in. We'll get to art and maps and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. Was it a Noble Dwarf? Was it Noble? I believe it's Noble Dwarf, right, Chuck?
Yeah.
Throw that link up in there again if you could.
Yep.
Yeah, just head over. I'm like 90% certain they've still got the M&T, PHB, and CKG for sale. And you can get them in those canvas. I think. If not, we need to get a hold of Mark and rattle his cage to get that. Or are we managing that store? I can't remember what we're doing over there.
We can manage it. Yes, we can. Yes, we're managing it. We haven't been managing it for a while, but we do manage it.
Yeah, there's many heads to this Hydra, and
It's on my
and
list.
the ironic thing is when we hired Jeremy, part of the hire for Jeremy in my head was Jeremy's going to help manage some of this content, but for some of this storage and stuff. But he's got way too much work to do. Way too much work to do. So,
Yeah, you
I've
have
got
a creature going on here, bro. A creature that's growing.
Yeah, no kidding. I've got about 18 months of work stacked up for Jeremy. So,
Anyway,
it'll keep him happy, if not a little bit insane. But there you go.
oh, there you go, Dan. There's Dan Allen Rose threw a couple places into the chat for you there over in England. You can check out some stores. Check it out.
Excellent. How's Shortcon contract coming? Is it set yet? It is not. We reversed on that just today. I finally had the time to sit down and read the whole contract. There was a couple things in it I didn't particularly like, so we went back to them and said, "You got to change this." We will know tomorrow if they're going to change. Or well, probably the next 2 or 3 days if they're going to change it. If not,
2 weeks.
Yeah, there you go. 2 weeks.
Who knows with them? But you know, if they don't, that's fine. We have other hotels and other locations.
We got other options. It's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah.
Maybe not as soon as we wanted, but it's going to happen. Right now, we're looking at September, Willie, but we'll keep you guys posted.
And the plan is we're going to get everybody down to Little Rock, and then we're going to find the place we want to have TrollCon at. We're going to all go there, and we're going to pretty much terrify the shit out of them until the last half of our deal next year. Think about it, man. Show up with like 500 people. Say, hey, you're going to work with us or what?
We need somewhere to sit down.
Sit down. Oh, let's see. Sparky asked question: has Arcane Armor made it into the rightful place in the PHB?
So,
yes.
It's not been changed. It's in there.
So it's halfway. Yeah, he's going to go do it right now. Look, he's going to do it right now.
It's my list right now. Yeah, because I will forget.
No dates yet, Willie. I mean, I can give you dates, but that's only if we sign the contract with that building. It's actually up in the air still. So I don't want to say any dates until I have ink on the line, you know?
Very, very cool, Vic Danger. Very, very cool. Enjoy your evening, and thanks for stopping by.
That's right, yeah.
Neil Gaiman books on the back. The tables and warehouse. That's what I'm talking about. Oak and Dragon Press. And who knows, by then we may have the warehouse.
Yeah, oh, hey.
You know, Kothar, you're correct. And there's 2 other ones. I fixed the light. I added the candle and the torch thing from the screens. There's another one, multiclassing. Multiclassing. There was something we wanted multiclassing fixed or lined up with the player's archive. That was
no. Well, okay. So the player's archive has got some stuff in it from one of the other God knows books. And so some people are assuming that stuff in there is core rules, and it's not.
So the only change that needs to be made, and I'll have to go back and can't remember who said this. There's something about, I can't remember what it is, but there's something in Mark's Davis wrote the multiclassing rules for the player's handbook.
Right.
Mark Sandy wrote the multiclassing rules for player's archive, and they mostly line up, but there's something in there. Very important stuff to consider for making change. Okay, Jeremy. Yeah. So that, and there's a third thing. Do you remember the third thing is, Jeremy? There was a third thing. There was lights, multiclassing, and something. I think I put it in our chat. I think I marked it in our chat somewhere. I can remember what it should say. What did I say? Torch, probably? No, I didn't say torch.
No, we dealt with all that bullshit already.
Well, sort of. What I did is I took the chart from the screens and put it verbatim in the player's handbook. But it screwed up. It's 3 times as long as the existing player's handbook, so it screwed up the whole column. So I got to go in.
So you got to fix the lights, the light entry, not the layout.
Yeah, all the info is in there, but I've added move the Arcane Armor. I'm going to have to. It's something, Jeremy. I can't remember.
That's what it is. I guarantee that's what it is. The layout's messed up because you made that longer. I guarantee it. 100%.
The third thing may be Mage Armor, but I don't think that. I think the third thing is something I'm not going to change. That's what I think the third thing is. I think, but
Oh.
multi-torching armor. There you go.
It's awesome. Oak and Dragon Press says after the Davis Journal video, you need to add a bar fighter class. He's not wrong.
If you guys haven't, go over to the Troller Games YouTube page. Grace did these wonderful interviews with everyone at Troller Games. She's uploaded the one with Jason, and she's uploaded the one with Jeremy, and she's uploaded the one with Davis. So you can watch these hour-long interviews, hour and a half, however long they are, and just kind of get an inside look at
they're almost an hour.
Whichever knucklehead she's talking to. So
you're in that group. You best be careful, knucklehead.
I know. It's just, it's pretty cool. It's good for me too, so I can learn what everyone does here.
I think it's good for folks to see us outside of our normal positions in the company too. It's good to hear stories about non-work stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you what, those SQUs the other day, they were looking good. They fit right in the column. I mean, I don't hear that shit.
Yeah, I think I talked about Geronimo for a while in mine.
Yeah, Grace is fantastic, Sirius. She absolutely is. Wonderful. Absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of Geronimo. That dude was badass.
Dude, I'm telling you what, those movies, never mind. We don't get started on all that. Then we're going to start talking about the man from England and everything else. I loved all those movies. Oh, my God.
Dude, I'm talking about the man himself. This is a guy who was at war.
Oh, yeah, he's badass.
He was at war with the Republic of Mexico, or it may have been an empire at the time. He had like 9 warriors or 19 warriors. And then the Americans pissed him off, so he went to war with the United States as well. That's just, I mean.
He didn't give a shit, man. I'll fight you right now.
He was the original, what do they call him, the goat? He was the original goat, man. He was just.
Yeah.
Watch Bone. I love Bone Tomahawk. I love that movie.
I've not watched it still.
Oh, do not let Stephanie watch that movie.
Why? She'll send me to packing to Arkansas.
She will murder you. It goes from being this kind of quirky Western to this blood curdling horror story. So
really?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. No. I think Pancho had an army, didn't he, Sparky? He had a whole bunch of people.
Oh yeah, Pancho had a huge bunch of people.
He was doing a thing.
Yeah, Geronimo.
And Lando just texted me, Players Archive, page 19. Armor. He's putting over in this Discord chat what needs to be looked at. So it was definitely something. I can't remember what that third stupid thing was. I know that I put them all 3. Combat maneuvers. Something about combat maneuvers.
I mean, there
are 19 combat maneuvers. We need to make sure the combat maneuvers in the CKG and the PHB line up. I think that's what that was, and I think they do line up.
Well, you pulled them from the CKG.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's lined up. I think Davis didn't know how many there were. I think that's where that comes from. But
he didn't know at all. He was way off on this because there's like 19 of them. And he was like, "What?" Yeah, he didn't know. Dude, have you ever watched Unforgiven and thought to yourself, boy, this could really benefit from cannibalism? The funny thing about Unforgiven, when I was watching it in the theater, when Morgan Freeman is up against the tavern wall, when Clint Eastwood walks in there, I turned to Todd. I was so unwound. I turned to Todd. I said, the first mother who dies is the bartender. And then when Clint Eastwood shot the bartender, I was like, yes. Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen it. Oh God, what is the remake that they had? Classic Western, man. They had what? Oh my God. Well, you know what? Just read the chat.
True Grit.
True Grit. Yeah, the remake of True Grit. Right. Where they included the old Elizabethan English talk in there from the way it used to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So both of those movies are fantastic movies. Both versions. Now I will say this: if you've not read True Grit, go get the book, read it. I sat down and read it one day. It is the best book I've ever read, bar none, including the Silmarillion, which I've read like 8 times. True Grit book, far better than the movies, fantastic. I watched the remake of it, and is it Jeff Bridges in that?
Yes.
Kurt Russell. It's Jeff Bridges. I loved the remake, thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked the girl who played Maddie, I thought did 10 out of 10, absolutely loved her. The rest of the cast were good. It's a good movie, solid movie. And I thought to myself, this is as good as the John Wayne one. But by some freak of nature, I saw the John Wayne one like a week later on TV. And I thought, I just watch this and see. It doesn't stand a candle to John Wayne's performance. I mean, John Wayne's performance in True Grit is just above and beyond what he normally did. You got to go watch it. It's just,
and I think the one with Jeff Bridges was approached a little differently too. You know what I mean? They were trying to bring out this feel of period versus with John Wayne, like you're going in for acting, you know. So
it's a different approach to it. Both very good films. I highly recommend both of them. But Unforgiven has to be one of the top westerns ever made. I mean, it's just
right.
I know Varsuk and Wolf Alone agreed.
Oh, Venom asked this earlier. He said, "Steve, where do you see Trollar Games in another 25 years?" That's a good question.
25 years. What I would like to see is this company continue to grow and continue to thrive, honestly. Now, 25 years, I'll probably be dead. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'll be sitting on a porch somewhere in a rocking chair looking at my grass. My goal is to have a yard that's enough grass that's large enough that I can begin mowing on Monday. And by the time I finish it on Friday, I can start again on the next Monday to mow again. That's what I want to do. And just mow until I die. That I absolutely love mowing the yard. So hopefully I'll be there. And one of my sons or nephews or whoever will have taken over the helm of this and drive this company. I really like to think of TOG as like the ERB Incorporated, which is a company that has, continued to thrive for over a century now. I think it's just cool, and I'd love to see TOG doing that. And everyone like Chuck and Jeremy and Grace and everybody who's joined on, benefit from all of this.
I'll benefit from sitting under the big apple tree we planted on your new yard as we're both retired. I sit there and make jokes about you while you're mowing the damn lawn and you're 80 years old or whatever. Yeah, keep it up, Daddy-O. Good job.
Until I just fall off the lawnmower. The mower keeps going.
Yeah. No shit. That's for sure. Let's see.
You and me both, Sparky, but hopefully.
Okay. The CK screens table for minus hit points doesn't match the rules in PHP at all. For minus hit points, it doesn't? Oh,
okay.
They tracked it down. I'm looking over here to see.
That means the screens.
We talked about redoing the screens anyway for the new release anyway and changing it up.
We're going to have a little bit of different stuff in them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like an apple tree now, so you can sit under it for 25 years. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, a cool box of Dr. Pepper on that mower. Absolutely. At that point, I don't got to worry about anything.
Yeah, you just drink it and say, who gives a shit? Yeah.
I'm out. I'm going to be smoking.
Cattle walk out. She'd be like, you just have to haul ass in your lawnmower and get away from her.
Right. I won't, because the taste of cigarettes ruins the taste of Dr. Pepper, and that's just not.
Well, and now that you've quit smoking, I'm telling you, man, I could never go back.
Yeah.
I could not. No. It tastes so bad. I had no idea. I smoked for, God, I don't even know, 15, let's see. I started when I was 12, and I quit when I was, let's see. I don't know. I guess I smoked for almost 30 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't smoke nearly that long, but I smoked enough. And I remember when I lit that cigarette, and I drank a Dr. Pepper and took a puff to ruin my Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I flicked that cigarette away and hadn't smoked since. So.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I was not aware of that.
Oh, yeah. No, we were gaming late. It was 2 a.m. I went outside and I lit up and I took a drink of that Dr. Pepper, and it ruined the taste of that Dr. Pepper. So I tossed that cigarette down, threw my pack in the garbage can, hadn't smoked since.
Yeah.
I do not like anything messing with my Dr. Pepper. I really don't.
Oak and Dragon, those are really cool. We and Steve talked about it. I kind of want to eventually get some on the store where they can download the PDF and print out the sheets and then customize them however they want,
Yeah, what I'd like to do is have something made. I know Fat Dragon does this, Fat Dragon Games. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. They've got screens that are like that. It's, it's a wall. So it's actually a 3D print wall, and you can put whatever you want inside it. It's very, very cool.
Right, yeah. They're pretty common nowadays, actually. A lot of people like them. Like to do their own sheets.
I get Dr. Pepper. Right after lunch, Frippy, right after lunch. All right, it's about time to wrap up. We got any last questions? Nope, we're good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for wandering by today and joining us in this Ask Me Anything. I'll be back next Tuesday, and tomorrow Chuck will be on at 9 Eastern Standard Time.
What is tomorrow? Wednesday? Yeah, I'll be on. I'll be on at 8. Yeah, 9 Eastern. Is that right?
Okay, 9
I
Eastern.
don't even know my
And then we'll be back on Thursday to announce the raffle winners for the Gygaxian World Builders Archive for the signed Eastmark folio. So please join us for that. It'll be the whole crew tumbling out.
Yep.
And then Chuck will be gaming this weekend, so don't miss that. But thank you all for joining us. And I think Chuck's going to wander us out of here.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. There's a link to the Twitch schedule if you want to look at it.
Go ahead and DM him, man. Go ahead and DM him. Someone asked if they could DM you.
No, yeah, just DM me. Just DM me. You can DM me on this account here for Troller Games. I'll check it in a second for sure.
Thanks, Venom. Thanks for coming by.
All right, guys.
Always
Y'all
a
have a good evening. We appreciate everybody for coming around, and we will see you guys in the morning. If you want to come by and hang out with me, I'll be on. See you guys later. Have a good evening. Good afternoon.
Take it easy, everybody.